nationalist movement in Indochina. This lesson deals with the heroic struggle launched by the people of Vietnam to liberate their motherland from colonial domination. If you compare Vietnamese freedom struggle with the Indian national movement, we understand that both of them aimed at the same, liberating the motherland from foreign domination. But both differed in the methods of struggle adopted. Indian people, under the leadership of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, launched a struggle against British colonialism in a peaceful, non-violent manner. Vietnamese, under the leadership of a great man named Ho Chi Minh, launched an armed struggle to liberate their motherland from colonial domination. Vietnam is located in a small peninsula called Indochina in Southeast Asia. As you know, a peninsula is a small land which is surrounded by water on three sides. So Indochina is a small peninsula located in Southeast Asia. Three modern nations are located in Indochina. In the north we have Laos, south Cambodia or Kampuchea, and along the eastern coast Vietnam is located. Historians say that Vietnam was under the shadow of the Chinese Empire. By that what we mean is Vietnam was largely influenced by Chinese culture and Chinese civilization. First of all, Vietnam followed Chinese system of government. Vietnamese also followed Chinese system of education. Actually, Vietnamese educational system was a copy of the Chinese system. Chinese language was the language of learning in Vietnam. Confucianism, a great religion founded by a Chinese philosopher named Confucius, had several followers in Vietnam. Vietnam was also connected to maritime Silk Route. You already know about the Silk Route. There was a land route connecting China with West Asia and Europe, and Chinese silk was the main item transported through this land route. It was called Silk Route. Along with this land Silk Route, there was also a sea route which connected China with the European countries. We call it by the name Maritime Silk Route. So Vietnam was connected to Maritime Silk Route. So from this we understand that Vietnam was under the shadow of the Chinese Empire, or Vietnam was largely influenced by Chinese culture, Chinese traditions and Chinese practices. In 1858, the French troops landed in Vietnam. By the middle of 1880, the French succeeded in establishing their control over the northern parts of Vietnam. The French defeated China in a war. We call it Franco-Chinese War. After defeating China in a war, the French got control over two provinces called Tonkin and Annam. By combining all these territories, the French established their colony in Vietnam called French Indochina in 1887. So Vietnam went under colonial domination. Now a doubt arises in our mind. Why were the European countries like France eager to get colonies? Why they wanted to acquire more and more like Britain, France, Holland, they were all looking for colonies during those days. So what were the reasons behind it? The first reason, as you know, industrial revolution took place in European countries. Factories came up. They wanted to produce goods on a large scale by using machines. To produce goods on a large scale, they were in need of raw materials in large quantities. And the raw materials were available in Asian and African countries at a very cheap rate. Secondly, Europeans produced goods on a large scale. They had surplus goods. They wanted to sell out their surplus goods, so colonies would provide them market for selling their finished goods. And thirdly, and more importantly, the Europeans during those days had a strong belief that their culture, their civilization was superior. They had a desire to spread Western culture, Western civilization and Christianity among the people of Asia and Africa. This they called by the name civilizing mission. So they thought that colonial domination would help them to civilize and Christianize the people of Asia and Africa. So these were the reasons why French wanted to establish colonies in Asia and